welcome to the first ever episode of The Gap with Brielle. I'm Brielle, your resident host, and a girl in her 20s, honestly trying to figure it all out. I am so glad that we're finally doing this. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. I guess I'm just proud that you're showing up and listening to this, and I'm showing up and actually recording this, because it takes a lot. And especially when you don't know how to do a lot of things, it's scary. And I'm just hoping that we can go through this journey together of surviving our 20s, of facing our fears, and ultimately, hopefully, just getting everything we wanted. Like I said earlier, I'm Brielle, but we will get into more about me later. But first, let me get into all things The Gap with Brielle. So I wanted to start this podcast, first of all, because I am the chatty Cathy friend, the friend that will talk your ear off at brunch over the situationship that she's obsessed with, and also that friend that you will stay up with at 3 a.m. eating Taco Bell, talking about your life traumas. I'm also that friend as well. Hopefully I can be that friend to you, where it's a safe space and it's open and we can talk about any and everything with no judgment, because honestly, everyone sells your 20s as, oh, my 20s was the best time of my life. And not that it's not going to be, but basically tackling these super difficult topics. I just wanted this to be a safe place where every week we can show up, we can have a laugh, or maybe sometimes we can have a cry, and we can just be vulnerable and open and talk about what's going on with us. And it will range. Sometimes we'll talk about our highs and how it's me season and how we are going to get to the bag and have a hot girl summer. Sometimes it'll be lows, and we'll talk about self-care and how to show up for ourselves and getting out of burnout and getting out of heartbreak. My 20s so far, at least for me, has been such a rocky ride. And if I could just offer, I don't know, if someone out there can just be like, you know what, I have been going through that too, and it's super hard, or this is super good, or I needed this encouragement. This is what I want this podcast to be. I just want it to be a space where we can come as we are, talk about any and everything, and leave with an uplift. Because sometimes life gets hard, but also sometimes life is super good. And honestly, I want to talk to you, and I want to talk to my friends on the good days and on the bad days. And that's what this podcast is going to be all about. So a lot of times it'll just be me and you talking. It'll be solo, just me on the mic, so we can get personal. You can get to know me a little bit, and we can communicate. Sometimes I'll bring in my friends, these lovely friends that I hold hostage on FaceTime. Love you, friends, if you're listening to this. And yeah, we'll have a little bit of me, a little bit of them. Maybe we'll have some advice episodes or something like that. So a little bit of you guys, and we can talk. And it's just going to be a really good time. And we're going to have a lot of fun. If anything, I just want it to be an uplift for you and an uplift for me. Hopefully we just get a chance to talk. I am super looking forward to it, and a lot of fun things coming up. We're going to start each episode off with the drink of the week, and the drink of the week is going to tie into the theme of the week and what we're talking about. This week, it's kind of all over the place, so I'm going to just give you guys my best, and we're going to make the Brielle special. So let's head over to the kitchen and see what we got. All right, we made it to the kitchen. So this summer, I've been drinking Dirty Shirley's like crazy, and it's literally all I've been ordering every time I go out, or if I'm at home and I want a cocktail, it's all I've been making. So we're going to make one today, a little Brielle special, because I love this drink. I can't get enough of it. So let's hop into it. So I have all my ingredients pre-set out for me, starting with ice. And then next up, we're going to do 2 shots of vodka. I like Tito's. And then we're going to do a splash of grenadine. And then lastly, to top that all off, we're going to do Sprite. And there you have it. That is your Dirty Shirley, your Brielle special. It's definitely on the sweeter side, so if you love those, check it out. Then if you just want to make it a mocktail, obviously just leave out the vodka. But this was like my childhood favorite, so definitely check out Brielle special. Okay, now that we've got our cocktail, let's get into a little bit about me. So, hi, I'm Brielle. I'm a Taurus sun. No, okay. I'm introducing myself to that because I recently watched Legally Blonde and she's like, her like whole intro. Hi, I'm Elle Woods and this is Bruiser Woods and we're both Gemini vegetarians. That's literally what I feel like right now, but anyways, let me get serious. I am Brielle. I am a Taurus sun. I am not vegetarian. I'm so sorry. I tried, but I enjoy shrimp a little too much. I currently work that full 9-to-5 life. Yeah. And what else about me? I'm single. I am a plant mom of, okay, I'm looking around my apartment right now. 1, 2. I'm a plant mom of 5. Very responsible. And my pride and joy is my bird of paradise that is sort of on the recovery mode because I overwatered it. A little bit of an overshare, but this is what this podcast is an entire overshare. So that is a little bit about me, just your average 9-to-5, 20-something, just trying to navigate my entire life. With working this 9-to-5 lifestyle, I know it is super late in the year. I truly don't subscribe to the whole like January is the time that you have to change around the year for yourself. I truly think that you can change around the year anytime you want. And honestly, I've been lagging. I've been a little bit behind. I've been trying to get this podcast off the ground. And with that, I finally decided that I want to write down some goals for myself, some stuff that I want to do and I want to accomplish for this rest of the year that is ahead of me. Although I am super late, yes, do not sue me. We are going to go through I don't want to really call them resolutions, but I guess they're technically resolutions. Let's call them my goals for the rest of this year because it's better late than never, as the saying goes. So we're going to go through this. I made a master list, as one does. I'm a huge pen and paper girl, even though, yes, I do have an iPad, okay? And I could be writing the notes and it's very aesthetic on TikTok, but I am a pen and paper girl. So pen and paper, I wrote down my list and we're gonna go through the different sections. My sections are mentally, physically, emotionally, and freebies. Kicking off with mentally, I have do morning affirmations and love yourself like Kanye loves Kanye. So Kanye West has this song that's like, and I love you like Kanye loves Kanye. And out of most celebrities, Kanye is known for basically being his biggest supporter. I watched his documentary on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called right now, but basically the way he advocated for himself and supported himself when people were like, I don't know, or they were unsure. I believe in myself, but I just want to believe in myself. Like Kanye believed in himself all the way back then or even currently. I just think it's super aspirational to believe in yourself and root for yourself and want great things for yourself. Sometimes I find that can be super hard when other people don't see that big dream for you or other people aren't rooting for you like you can root for you. And I just feel in this season where I'm trying to establish myself and build my dreams and build my dream life, it's important for me to root and advocate for myself like Kanye West did in his documentary. So a way I'm doing that is through affirmations. I wake up and I'll go on YouTube, and it's this guy called Bob Baker. He has these affirmation videos and you just say it to yourself. I started it maybe a week ago. Honestly, at first I was like stupid. I'm like, okay, I am successful. I am a money magnet. I am prosperous. I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am rich. I am successful. All of those things. And I was like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? But honestly, it turned into a thing, at least so far. I was having a bad day. Honestly, today was not a great day for me. I got let down a little bit by someone who I thought wouldn't let me down. We'll get into that more a little bit later or on another episode. But today was a little tough for me. And when I was feeling down on myself, I was like, no, you know what? You may not know where you're going next or what your next step will be or where you'll be this time next year, but like, you are successful, you are positive, you are fun, you are wealthy, everything's gonna come to you. It just really helped me to have this positive mindset of, even if I can't see it right now, like, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be good. And we're gonna make it through this bad day. So all that being said, I highly recommend having affirmations in your routine because no one is gonna uplift you like you uplift you. Also, I have mentally read a book once a month. Now I know it's like, boo, books. What are we talking about? I got into this like book reading thing and going to Barnes and Nobles, and I found myself like accumulating books. However, I found myself, I would read half a book and then my reading tolerance would go down, and then I would switch to Netflix or Hulu or watching shows at night. Instead of reading, I found myself accumulating all these books that looked great on my nightstand as decoration, and they looked great, but I wasn't reading them. This year, I want to hold myself back into the standard of reading one book once a month. And I was reading this book last night because, again, I'm trying to force myself to get back into it. Honestly, lately, I've just been wanting to watch Superstore. That's like my night show. Definitely recommend it. It's the sitcom version of people. I want to say it's compared to them working at Walmart. It's super good. And it's my nighttime thing that I love to do. But I've been trying to force myself to read more. Last night, I was reading this book called Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies, and it's by this girl named Tara Schuster. And she quotes Jay-Z, and she's like, the only thing stopping me is me, and I'ma stop when the beat starts. And it's like, that is so true. I am the only person, not the only person standing in my way, but I need to start. For example, like with this podcast, nothing's stopping me at the computer. I have the mic. I just need to go for it. I encourage all of you guys to go for the thing that you've been wanting to do, because the only thing stopping you is you, hypothetically. So you can do it, and I believe in you. And that's why today I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get on this mic, because the only thing stopping me is my fear. I have a mic, I have a computer, I need to sit down and do it and see what comes of it. So definitely recommend that book. So far at the beginning, I'm only at the beginning, and it's like a self-help book that she breaks down, and I will give it to her. Some self-help books feel like homework, and it's chapter 1, unplug from life. It's like, what does that even mean, really? I definitely recommend her book because it is super good and super personal and really encouraging. So recommend that. Next, on physically. First, I have exercise 5 times a week. Now, I know what you're thinking, Brielle, 5 times a week, that's a lot. Believe me, that is a lot for me, but this is how I kind of sold it to myself. I guess let me backtrack a little bit. So I am not the wake up at 5 a.m. or even work out every day type of person, but because I work a job where I sit a lot most of the time, it's been really important for me to get active because one, it just makes me feel better. And two, it's just good to move just for health reasons. And I feel a lot better when I do it. At first, I was like, oh, I'm just going to do 3 times a week and kind of work my way up. But this is how I sold it to myself. 5 times a week, I show up for my job and I do the best I can. And I put all this effort in and all this work in for a paycheck and for career growth, which is great and super positive for me. I just told myself that I want to put that same effort into myself and my physical health journey. So yes, every day that I wake up, do I feel like going to work? No, sometimes I want to stay in bed. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I'm just in a bad mood, but I still force myself to go to work, put on my professional hat and to show up and do the best I can. For me, I was like, if I can do that for a paycheck and for professional growth, and to grow career-wise, I need to be putting that same tenacity. Ooh, look at the SAT words popping out. Tenacity. I love that. I want to put that same tenacity into working out. So I have exercise 5 times a week. My second one in that is exercising in nature. So exercising in nature, just something about the sun and the fresh air and just being able to get outside. There's just nothing like it. Just fresh air, a bit of people around that you see, different characters. It's just a good time. Personally, I love going to my local park and just getting some nice time outside. I think for me with exercise, I used to try to be very regimented and I was like, oh, I have to go to the gym 5 times a week. Or, oh, I also really love going to cycling classes. So I was like, oh, I have to go to cycling classes 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. I need to be there. But really where I think I found consistency and a little bit of joy even in my workout routine was me waking up and being like, okay, let's assess. How do we feel today? What are we feeling? Are we feeling a YouTube yoga class inside and we take it easy and we move? Or maybe it's just a walk, or maybe it's a jog, or hey, maybe we push ourselves and we go to the gym, or we go to cycling class, etc. I really think giving yourself grace and mobility to wake up every day and say, hey, what do I feel like today? Obviously, you should just plan to move every day, but whether that's high intensity, low intensity, a walk, a jog, or just a stretch, I think it's really important and could really help your mental health as well, because it's definitely helped mine. When I first moved post-college, for the first 6 months, I would maybe work out. When I say workout, maybe like a walk or something like once a week, etc. And I could just tell I just didn't feel as great. I felt laggish. I kind of had to push myself super hard. So it's just good to move and be healthy and show up for yourself, because if there's one theme that I want to push, it's showing up for myself this year, because showing up for yourself is hard sometimes. And I realized that I love showing up for myself through spending my paychecks on Zara and Abercrombie and Sephora and buying meals out and hanging out with my friends. But sometimes it's kind of hard to show up for yourself and be like, okay, we need to move today. Okay, next up, emotionally. Oh God, I have been dreading about talking about this one. Emotionally, I have understand the meaning of if he wanted to, he will. Okay, so recently I've dealt with a situation breakup thing of sorts. I was talking to this guy and it was fun and it was free and it was no strings attached, etc. But I found myself getting attached, and there were multiple reasons that we wouldn't work out, but I still sold it to myself, and I was having a great time, and I enjoyed the time we were having, and he made me laugh and he made me smile, and I was so okay with it. And then it ended and we fell out, basically because we just saw things different. But it just led me to making this very blanket statement resolution of if he wanted to, he would. Understanding that certain people will do things for you and certain people won't. And that's okay. Really just understanding that, and I guess overall coming to terms with that and being okay. Yeah, it didn't work out, but that's okay. And that there are other things out there for me that ultimately I'm gonna be okay. Stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll do an episode of healing from situationships or on situationships, because wow, what a wild ride it has been. See, now I trust you guys because that personal, we are getting personal on the first episode, but I just wanted to set the tone. Lastly, I have freebies. So I have enjoy cooking more. Oh, wow. Enjoy cooking more. Right now, I'm at a point where I love to eat. Let's get that straight. Love to eat, love food, love when food is prepared for me. Do not look forward to being like, oh, I have tortillas, sour cream, shrimp, and cold slaw. Let me make shrimp tacos. I'm so excited. Now, keep in mind that I am excited to eat the shrimp tacos. I am not excited to make the shrimp tacos. Because of that, I was getting into this whole routine of eating out more than I cooked, but obviously that gets super expensive over time. The other day, I was forcing myself to cook Sunday dinner, and I wanted to relive my nostalgia phase. So let me go into a quick tangent about that actually. The reboot of Louder and Prouder, which is the reboot for the Proud family, I don't think it's good as the original, and of course I never will, because the original came out when it was new and exciting and all these things, but it just sent me down this path of comforting childhood things and shows, especially on Disney Channel, because my friend let me use his Disney Plus password. Shout out to you, Edward, if you're listening. So I was watching Louder and Prouder, and then I found myself going through this rabbit hole of like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, Sweet Life on Deck. What else was one? Oh, Ravens. What? Oh, That's So Raven. And then I started watching Raven's Home because that was her new-ish show. And that show just brought me so much comfort from my youth. So after I watched Raven's Home, I decided to put on Ratatouille, which was my childhood like favorite movie. I would say after The Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid was first, but Ratatouille was definitely second, just for its je ne sais quoi, so to speak. It just had that thing that just kept me coming back watching. So while I was watching Ratatouille, it just hit me that music, when Remy is cooking in the Disney film, he has this French cuisine cooking music behind him. And it just makes you go back in time. You're on the Riviera, you're cooking for Gusteau. It's very classy. It's an experience instead of a task that you literally have to do. So I tried it. The following 2 days later or whatever, when I had to cook again, I went on Spotify, turned on French cooking music. If you have Apple Music over Spotify, I'm low-key judging you. Just a little bit. And I typed in French cooking music, It just transported me to the Riviera. I had this nice apartment by the Eiffel Tower and I was cooking. It was just an experience and it elevated me. I recommend everyone to do it or try it once and just see if it elevates the cooking experience for you. Secondly, I have on here cook out of at least one cookbook. So I've been cooking for a very long time in my life and I've never cooked out of a cookbook. I've maybe picked a recipe or two out of a cookbook, but as far as cooking through at least 50% of a cookbook, I've never done. I feel like this could be a way to enhance my cooking experience without me having to do a lot of thought or having to like Pinterest a bunch of recipes. So I'm gonna cook out of 50% of cookbook. So I would say I'm a decent cook and I can follow along to recipes. So very intrigued to see where that journey will take me. And then lastly, I have Be a Better Friend, check in on friends more. Last year I moved. I was honestly just focused on myself. I didn't check in with a lot of friends. I wasn't dating much. I was just trying to get myself acclimated and I just put a lot into myself, a lot of self-care, a lot of attention. I feel like although that's great, through doing that a little bit, I ended up neglecting my friendships. So this year, now that I have a better footing in my career and my location that I'm living in, I want to put more into my friends and make more of an effort to connect and to basically check up on them and be like, hey friend, how are you? Not just put my stuff on them, but also be like, hey, how are you? How are you mentally? How are you emotionally? What's going on? Just checking in with them because my friends deserve the very best, just like me. Yeah, that is the end of all of my goals and things I want to reach this year. I wanted to end with two things. So first, I'm going to end each episode really with what I'm currently watching because I use TV as, I wouldn't say as an escape, but it just lets me calm down. I have some shows that I really love to watch that I want to share with you guys because maybe it's something that, hey, you get off from work, you can sit on the couch, you watch it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I know what she's talking about. It's great. It's always good to hear about new shows that are interesting. So let's get into those. So Insecure, it's on HBO Max and it's basically about this girl. I don't know if the main character is in their 20s or 30s, but anyways, they're just trying to figure out their life. They're in a relationship, then they aren't in a relationship, then they're dating, then they're not dating, and they're figuring out their career and they're navigating their friends. And I'm rewatching the show just because it just feels so similar to what's going on with me of it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. So definitely recommend watching Insecure. It's Issa Rae's show that I believe she writes and produces or writes and stars in. Just finished last year, the beginning of this year. I have no idea, but the whole show is out at this point that I publish this podcast. And honestly, you can watch it to reflect whatever season you're in. If you're in the best relationship of your life and you have your career figured out, there's a season for that. If you just got out of a breakup and you have no idea where your life is going, there's a thing for that. If you're struggling with your friendships, there's a thing for that. I just find it so relatable because although I'm not going through her exact situations, I can definitely sympathize and understand where she's going through and appreciate her journey. The second one, also a woman's show, is Broad City. It's about these two best friends who just navigate New York City the best they can. And I just love it because it's not centered around love. And it's just about these two friends that really care about each other, and they go through crazy things in New York City. It's the best of times, it's the worst of times, but they always have each other. And it's just a lighthearted show to follow, honestly. And I recommend. I'm a Alana more than an Abby, and if you watch the show, then you'll get it. And if you haven't seen it, then I definitely encourage you to check it out. I think it says for me right now, I'm into feel-good shows with woman empowerment that are just like, yes, girl, you can do it, no matter if you're at a low or high. And I encourage y'all to do the same thing. No matter if you're at a low or high, you can do it. So outside of what I'm watching for the week, I always love to end on a love letter. This love letter is my version of Gem of the Week. And each week I will end the episode. This is our first episode. Here it goes. Dear listener, the year is almost over. Grab the pen, grab the paper. What do you want to do this year? And let's fucking do it. Do the thing that scares you. Jump in head first. I promise you won't regret it. Unless it's hard drugs, babes, don't do hard drugs. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. Make sure to follow on Instagram at The Gap with Brielle Pod. We do a lot of fun stuff over there. And thanks for just bearing with me. I haven't been feeling the best the last few days, but I wanted to get up and do this, so sometimes you just gotta push through. And with that, I will see you next week for another episode of The Gap with Brielle. Bye!